Thank you.
You got the memo. Yeah. Yeah, God, we're dressing the same.
We are live.
So Scott, it's awesome. We are live, and normally I have Kayleen McCabe, co-host with my great friend Scott Sheelar, founder of CEFGA. And Scott, how are you doing this week?
I am doing great, Kayleen, and I'm so excited about our day today and our guests that we're going to have. But hey, I have a new word for you that I want to share that's very relevant. The word is sansdemic. We all know about pandemic. We know plenty about that, right? Sansdemic. I had never heard this word, but it basically means a shortage of people. And there are a lot of economists now that believe we have a shortage of people coming into the workforce, which is really interesting. They pointed to three things. They pointed to baby boomers retiring, which we all know. They also reported a lot of current workers just opting out of the workforce somehow, and they're not able to get a handle on that dynamic. But then the third factor is there are just fewer people in these future generations. There just aren't as many people being born. And they said it's creating this perfect storm of we don't have enough workers, not just in construction, but basically economy wide. And the term is sansdemic. So you're probably going to hear more and more about that.
That's fascinating. And what is interesting is, when I was growing up, my motivation was I wanted to make my own money so I could buy things. My parents, we were poor, so we couldn't afford toys or anything. So if I wanted stuff, I had to make the money. But now I'm realizing maybe this younger generation isn't fueled by money. Maybe it's being a part of the community, which construction is too. And we should highlight that more. Like, how many times now do contractors drive around the city and be like, I built that, I worked on that. And so maybe highlighting more how much the industry gives back to the community, to other people, what a team it is. We should highlight, besides the fact it's great money and it's so much fun, but sansdemic. All right.
Yeah. And the cool thing too is, our guests today, I think what's going to happen in this sansdemic environment, you're going to have to be a really good employer, that knows how to recruit people, knows how to take care of them, pay them well, give them a career path, allow them to grow. In order to just exist as an employer, you're going to have to do that in order to get workers, I think. That's what that means. And the cool thing is Anning Johnson, our guest today, is a great example of that type of company. And in fact, I've told Edwin this 1,000 times. I said, if every company were like Anning Johnson, we probably wouldn't have a skilled labor shortage, because Anning Johnson is so good at recruiting people, taking very good care of them in terms of pay, in terms of benefits, in terms of training and career opportunities. If more construction companies operated the way Anning Johnson does, I'm convinced we would not have a labor shortage. But also moving forward, you're going to have to be like Anning Johnson just to stay in business and keep workers at your company, because there is such a shortage of workers. So I'm so happy that we're talking to Anning Johnson and Edwin Parra later today.
Oh, yeah. Well, and Nicholas with Anning Johnson, because it's this wonderful, for a while there was that shortage, and we started to put brain power and really appreciate the tools and the products we were using on job sites because they were so smart. But now employers are realizing the most valuable tool and product is the employee. And so taking advantage of that. But before we bring on our guest, Scott, I have to geek out about my tool this week because, a long time ago, I love hot chocolate and those freeze-dried marshmallows. And so I bought a 5-gallon bucket of freeze-dried marshmallows because I'm an adult with expendable income because I work in construction. Sometimes you can do that. And with that came a bucket opener, and I'd worked in construction for years. And how many times have you had a 5-gallon bucket of paint and you struggle to get that top open? You take a screwdriver and then a pair of pliers and something, you rip it open, you ruin the top. My marshmallows came with a bucket opener, and it opens up the 5-gallon buckets of paint like nobody's business. Marshmallows are fine. I haven't seen these sold in any big box stores, and so I have to share. So this just goes around the edge of your 5-gallon bucket. It pops that lid off, and it's nice and easy to then get access to your paint or marshmallows, whatever. So yeah, this is my nerdy tool of the week.
That is super cool, but I have to know, what in the world are you going to do with 5 gallons of freeze-dried marshmallows? I mean, how long is it going to take you to burn through those?
It took me like 6 years, and I gave away some of them as party favors. I'd have a party at my house and you'll get a bag of marshmallows. Ta-da! handful of marshmallows in your hot chocolate. I'm surprised I don't have diabetes, but I can paint better. So, it's really fun to be able to share these tools that make us smarter, but really what it is companies who are employing great employees who is making us all smarter. I mean, again, benefits. Scott, I don't remember being in residential construction and having benefits. And so what Anning Johnson offers, I can't wait to hear all of the information from our two guests today. So Scott, you're going to be hanging around for the whole interview, correct?
Yes, I am. I'll be here listening, and then I'll be back on at the end to chime in and answer any questions. So I'm looking forward to it.
I love it. So of course, if any of our viewers have any questions, they're more than welcome to ask. Scott will be around. So Scott, thank you so much for starting off the show. And I'm joined by Edwin. Edwin, how are you doing today?
Great. Good morning. Great to be with you guys.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you join us for lunch. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know you guys are really, really busy.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yes. So you work with Anning Johnson, and I am a geek for the company too, because the way you guys take care of people is great. But can you tell me a little bit about the company, and then also what is your role with them?
So we're a nationwide drywall contractor. We've been in business since 1940. My role is basically recruiting and career development. So I work very closely with CEFGA, a lot of high school programs, tech schools programs throughout the state.
That sounds like an amazing job. Is it also frustrating though, because people aren't like lining up outside your office being like, let me get a job? It sounds great.
It definitely has its challenges, but I'm a firm believer in every obstacle brings with it opportunities, and those opportunities have really led us to some great places.
That's awesome. It's very true. Sometimes you never know where those obstacles will take you. So when you're looking for an employee, what kind of things are you looking for? What makes somebody stand out to you?
That's a great question. I would say above all is attitude. The people we have in place have been doing this for a long time. We're union contractors, so we offer additional training in the evenings to our employees. But the one thing we can't teach anybody is how to have a great attitude. And when you come in the door with that, everything else kind of follows.
That is very, very true. I could teach you how to swing a hammer, put up drywall, but not how to be happy or find my jokes funny. They're pretty funny.
And drive and initiative, work ethic. I think all that stuff stems off of attitude. You got to really have the desire to go get it and not let anything keep you from your goals.
It's very true, because not every day is easy, but some days, are, but it's how do you deal with it? Is your attitude positive that you want to come to work the next day and start over again? Okay. You've hired quite a few graduates from the Construction Ready program with CEFGA. Why are CR graduates such a good fit?
I think there's a number of reasons. Number one, the credentials and licenses, the certifications that they get going through the program offer us as an employer a major safeguard. When we look at statistics, we see that in construction, the majority of accidents occur with individuals that have been with the company for less than 6 months. I'm honored to say that out of the 30 plus graduates we've hired from Construction Ready, none have ever been involved in a recordable accident. So that alone shows what the program offers and what it equates to on a job site. And a lot of times, many of those credentials, I know people that have been in the industry for 10, 15 years and never gotten all the credentials that people were able to get in just those 4 weeks. So those are two major benefits. Yep.
Yeah, it is. I definitely, in my younger days, I definitely put some 5-gallon buckets on my feet to be taller and walked around. Shouldn't have done that. Took me a while to get my OSHA card. Let's rewind just a little bit, because many of our viewers might be familiar with drywall, but more in the sense of it's in their home. Can you talk about some of the scale or projects that you, what is drywall with Anning Johnson?
Gotcha. That's a great question. So we really specialize in commercial construction. A lot of the high rises you see downtown, even hospitals, schools. And one of the things we've really gotten a lot more involved with over the last few years has been data centers. For example, right now we're building 2 data centers, or we just completed one in Huntsville, Alabama, and we're building another one in Social Circle, Georgia. And those are major complexes. I mean, sometimes they're almost as big as a city in itself. So it's really cool to be a part of those and see those becoming a major part of construction as well.
It's amazing. Yeah.
We also do a lot of metal stud framing and sheetrock. In the projects we build, they're not built like homes are with wooden studs. We use metal studs. A little easier to work with, to maneuver, things like that helps us keep our production rates pretty high. So
yeah, and maybe cost a little bit lower right now.
Right, especially right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think everybody should be building with metal anyway. I'm in Colorado where everything dries out. Why are we with wood? Everything moves. Anyway, that's a topic for another lunch. So thank you for explaining that, because the projects are so cool, and the fact that you can really work on these large scale things. So let's say I am a construction ready graduate and I'm looking at this interview and I'm interested. What are some of the opportunities for maybe continuing education with your employees?
So there's a couple different avenues. We actually work closely with a lot of tech school programs. We're also affiliated with the Carpenters Union of Atlanta. And we also have our in-house paid on-the-job training program. You typically start, if you're coming in entry level, you would start out as a laborer, which is really the best way to start out. And right there, he's showing you our website. You can actually go online and apply at www.aj-careers.com. And you can see the different positions we have available in the city of Atlanta and throughout the country. We have 8 offices throughout the US. But yeah, you would basically start out as a laborer. You'd be able to work your way up. We look for good work ethic, reliability, obviously working safely, getting along well with others, and an ability to retain the information you're being taught. Because even though it's an entry-level position, you're being exposed to a lot. So you're seeing the materials we work with, the tools we work with, the flow of the projects, the different positions involved. So it's definitely eye-opening. And then you're able to make an educated decision on which direction you want to take your career, whether it's the carpentry route or the drywall finishers that do all the plastering. We have a 2-year apprenticeship for both of those programs, where we really help you in a lot of ways. We coordinate on-the-job training in addition to union training in the evenings. You receive incremental raises every 6 months. Once you complete that 2-year process, you're eligible to go into our lead training, which is about a year, and then 2 additional years of training to actually become a foreman and learn to run your own projects. So all in all, it can be about a 5-year pathway to take you from entry level to management.
That's amazing. And I'm happy you explained it, because I agree with you as far as starting as a laborer. In fact, even now, if I wanted to work in the world of drywall, even though I have years of construction experience, I would start as a laborer, because it's a new industry and you want to digest everything. But I think people think that when you start as a laborer, all you're going to be doing is picking up trash on the job site and just not doing anything, maybe sweeping, but the fact that it is structured. Can you give us a scoop on maybe what is an average starting wage for a laborer?
Sure. So that's another benefit to the Construction Ready program, obviously, because they're going in, they're getting credentials that really, mean something on the job site. We actually offer a little higher wage. With 0 experience coming in the door, they'd be looking at $15 to $16 an hour today. Same thing with construction students that are in construction programs in high school. We do take that into consideration, that they've worked with some tools, maybe gotten some credentials. And then once they get in the program, they're eligible for a $1 raise every 6 months their first year, a $1.50 raise every 6 months their second year. So they can get real close to $20 an hour or more, and that's the minimum. We actually have quite a few apprentices that exceed those increases just based on their performance. So that's the minimum raises they can receive in that amount of time.
That's amazing. And in a career that you can have an upward trajectory as far as opportunities forever. So, wow, Edwin, can you not? As soon as I can handle the humidity, I'm working for you folks. I cannot wait. So how does Anning Johnson help with current employees to train new workers, since we are looking at such a severe skills gap? As Scott said, with the Sandsdemic, it's now coming in from every angle. So how are you folks kind of tackling this?
Right. So, the downfall to kind of where we're at as an industry is a lot of our seasoned veterans are getting to the latter years of their career. Well, it's also a good thing too, because we can take the skills and knowledge that they've acquired over years and kind of pour that back into the newcomers in the industry now. So a lot of times they're being put in trainer roles, mentor roles, and even safety roles, to where they can kind of start easing their way out of the industry, but at the same time, giving something to the next generation to build their careers and futures with.
That's actually really wonderful because working in construction is physically aggressive. Everyone do yoga and stretch. Get off my soapbox now. But when you get to want to retire, it is nice to be able to pass on this brain knowledge because it is so dense, and you can't learn this stuff all through a book. That's right. It doesn't work that way. So Edwin, this has been amazing. I'm so happy we got to chat, but I'm really excited too to talk to one of your hires who actually came from Construction Ready, Nicholas Holmes. Can you give me some insight though on why you decided to hire Nicholas after his Construction Ready graduation?
Sure, and it's Nicholas Sherlock Holmes, and that's his real name.
Get out of town. Hang on. So my notes just say Holmes, and I guarantee that my production staff is like, no way, like that's cute. That's the best. Nicholas Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I'm gonna pretend to be Watson. You get that all the time. I didn't even know. All the jokes forever. So Nicholas, I want to hear why Edwin hired you. This is so good. All right. It was because his last name is amazing. That would have been it for me, but okay.
No, Nick, one of the things that stood out with Nick from the very beginning was the thing that I said we look for the most, and that was his attitude. He was very genuine, straightforward. He was very honest with me. His path was definitely had a lot of challenges along the way, and he was forthcoming with that. But his attitude just really made him stand out from the other 30 individuals at that time in that group. And he's a perfect example of when you come into this industry, if you work hard and really put in the effort, where you can go. He actually went through the entire process that I just explained, from entry level up to management. Today, he's an awesome foreman with our company. He's actually working
right? Woo!
Yeah, he's at the Marriott Courtyard, actually on the rooftop. You can see the Bank of America building right behind him. And that's a new tower that we just built right next to the Fox Theater. So I'll let Nick tell you a little bit more about him.
Edwin, thank you for taking the time. I'll see you in a bit, but Mr. Sherlock Holmes, thank you very, very much for joining us for lunch. First of all, best office view on earth right now. You win the award for all the lunches. Oh my gosh. Wow. Nicholas, hey, I'm so excited to chat with you. When I saw the white hat, I'm like, he's a foreman too. What? So, okay, let's rewind then. So why did you decide to take part in the Construction Ready program?
At that moment in time, I had recently been released from prison. I did like over 7 years of time from making like horrible decisions, living a life of terrible decisions, drug abuse. I could go into a very detailed story about that, but I'm gonna answer the question that you're asking now, which is, I landed a job through an entity called the Strive program. And the Strive program, I got a job at like a little warehouse, and situation went wrong where a manager did something that was incorrect, and he chose to tell his manager that it was my fault when he told me to do it. But long story short, they terminated me, and I didn't tell the truth, which was, what really happened. I didn't want to. He was in a better position in his life than I was. He had a lot more to lose than I did. So I kind of took the bullet for him and us. But I lost my job, and I called the Strive program, and she told me about this program that was starting off. They had did group 1, and that she felt like it would be a good fit for me. So I had a job opportunity through the temp service, going from an $8 an hour job to an $11 an hour job. And she told me I would start the next day. But one of my peers, she told me that she recommended that I didn't take the $11 an hour job and come over and go through the program. So I trusted her and went through the program. And through going through the program, I ended up meeting Edwin. And 7 years later, here I am at Ann & Johnson as a foreman. And there's a lot that goes on in between that, but that's how I got here.
Tons, because 7 years is definitely a lifetime. But did you ever do construction prior to Construction Ready? Did you ever have an inkling, work?
Absolutely not. I didn't have any experience. I was still having even difficulties reading the tape measure, because I did have hands-on skills doing like hard work from upbringing by my grandfather, but not any carpentry skills or anything like that. I was more of learn how to cut grass and trim hedges and cut down bushes and things of that nature that my grandfather made me do as a kid, but no experience as in carpentry, none, absolutely none. I learned basic skills through going through the CEFGA program and HB Next, and at that time, and they got me started on the training path, learning how to shoot a Hilti gun and all kind of other safety credentials that we got. I think we got our OSHA 10 and kind of started from there.
So, okay, I know I had some other questions, but I just have all of them I want to ask you. So did you feel prepared for your first day on the job site going through the construction ready program? Did you or were you nervous? Like, what was your first day like?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was extremely nervous. I think I would expect that from anyone going into a new setting, a new environment. This was a big change in my life. I was praying and hoping that it was going to be something for the best. I had a lot of dead-end jobs, and to my understanding that this was a career path. So yes, I had a great bit of determination to not fail at the task that was going to be delivered to me. I was told that there was going to be a lot of obstacles. It was going to take a lot of training and learning. So yeah, I was nervous. I was afraid. I was full of butterflies. Just wanted to show up and do a good job. You know what I mean? Show that I was worthy of the job, and many other people that come from the same walk of life that I have, and have made decisions, and convicted felons, and whatever your walk of life may be, that we all qualify for the job. You just gotta.
Yes. It's the attitude, and really, I want to work with awesome other professionals who are there. It's not about your past. Are you there because you like your job and you're part artist and you like the heat and being on job sites and the noise and all the fun that happens with it? Is really, that's who we all want to work with. So, okay, you start off as a laborer. What was it like transitioning into a leadership role?
Oh my God, that was terrifying, because it's basically going from being a follower to a leader. Initially, I was a laborer, so you pretty much told what to do daily. Hey, go pick this up and move this here, or clean up here. Throughout doing that, you're learning your material. I was told by some pretty intelligent guys, like, hey, everything you touch, learn what it is. Don't just move stuff. Like, ask questions. I like to ask questions anyway, but like, if you pick something up, find out what that is you're moving. What is it used for? So that kind of helped me train myself as picking up trash, at the same time. But yes, moving over into leadership it's a whole different ball game. On the other side of the spectrum, when you are a carpenter and you're under a foreman and whatnot, like I said, you're given tasks that you have attained the skills and learn how to do. So it becomes like second nature work. But running work and running groups of guys and sending these guys to do this task required a whole different part of yourself. You got to learn to trust people, and plan, which is not a very good suit of mine. You got to learn how to think ahead, problem solve. You had to problem solve being a carpenter, but it's a different problem solve. You got to problem solve for the job and for the person that you're putting to do the job. You got to learn people's strengths and weaknesses and limitations, and you got to have great communication skills and learn second language, learn how to speak Spanish and things of that nature. I'm working on that now, because you're going to have language barriers. It's a whole different ballgame. I'm still learning a lot right now. I feel like every day is a learning experience. You never know it all, and it's an amazing journey. It's every day is stressful to me, because I push myself so hard, and I hate to screw anything up, or anybody else screw anything up on my watch. And I like to treat people well, and I've learned that kind of like to be in this position, sometimes you have to be stern, if that's the word I'm looking for, and can be argumentative and things of that nature. And that's not really my character. I don't like to argue and be combative, but that comes along with the territory, because you're going to have some disgruntled people that you're going to have to deal with on a daily basis, whether it's from your company or from other trades or whatnot. And you can't just say, oh, screw this, I don't want to deal with this issue, because that comes along with the territory and the job. So it's, like I said, it's all a learning process.
Okay, so with those challenges, which it's different than working in an office environment for sure. Sometimes contractors are very easy to speak their mind and share their feelings, sometimes with a lot of four-letter words. But with all these challenges, are you happy with your decision with coming into the construction industry?
Yes, absolutely. Oh man, if I could show you in a small film of like what my life used to be and where I was before I started this career, you would, yes, I'm absolutely happy. I have had a lot of amazing changes happen in my life. Currently own a $200,000+ house that I'm paying for now in a golf and country club community. Got 18 rounds of golf and lake, and like I live in a nice home, a nice community. I've had 2 beautiful new children. I've met my awesome wife, which I met while I was in prison, and that's a whole nother story. But God places people. I'm nothing against anybody else's faith or spirituality, but God places people in your life, for a reason. And when you want to change your life and do things and pray for those things, they can come to you, but you got to be ready for what you ask for. And I asked for that change, and all of these different things were sent to me. My wife, my family, my job, it all just fell together, and it's still kind of, I guess, from my standpoint, unbelievable that I'm standing here on top of this roof having this conversation with you now. I was having a tear-jerking moment with myself almost a few seconds ago, because I was like, man, who would have ever thought that, me, knowing who I once was, would be, like I said, standing on top of this building right now in a conference with you guys talking about coming through the trade. It's just awesome.
I'm pinching yourself, or I'm pinching myself too for you, because it is amazing. Nicholas, your story is really inspiring, and I loved how you are sharing your story, because you're inspiring other folks to come into this from all angles. I love seeing that you're happy and enjoying where you're at and sharing your story. And I'm coming golfing with you when I hang out in Georgia. Yay, golf!
I've been there for a year and I still haven't went out. That's just the I got 2 small children, so it's kind of hard to get away. They drive my wife nuts. There's a lot of responsibility, but I haven't had an opportunity to actually buy me a set of clubs and get out there, because we can get the membership and I could go out there at any time. And I have my whole office just about goes golfing all the time, and I think my fear of getting my butt kicked too has me kind of hesitant going out, because I'm very competitive. So I know I'm gonna get like tore up pretty bad when I first start. And that's something, it's a whole new skill, it's a new environment, it's something you got to learn. But I'm gonna adventure out there soon. I'm gonna buy me a set of clubs and get out there and try it, because I've been told that it's really relaxing and peaceful. And right now, me and my wife are working on buying us a golf cart anyway. So once I get my golf cart, I think I'm gonna go out.
You have to. It's the most frustrated you'll ever be on a beautiful walk at a little white ball. I'll tell you what, and I cheat. Who cares? It's the good conversation and hanging out with friends. So I can't wait for those clubs, but hang out for just a second, Nicholas, if you don't mind. Scott, what did you think about today's lunch?
Well, Nicholas always manages to bring tears and major emotion to me. The last question you asked about, where he is today, where he was and where he is today, just really, really grabbed me. Nicholas, I don't know if you remember 7 years ago when you were trying to decide which company to go to. Do you remember that? You had narrowed it down to 2 companies. We won't mention the other company name, but you had narrowed it down to 2 companies. And I just remember like that was yesterday, having that conversation with you. And I think we talked about, hey, this is a career, man. Anning Johnson is a career. And here you are 7 years later, and you've proven that out. It's a career, man. I'm beyond proud of you. I feel like that's so inadequate to say I'm proud of you. I mean,
Thanks, Scott.
No, and it's true emotion. It genuinely is. This is why Scott has been doing this for 20 years. It's for stories like this. We're all going to get teary-eyed today. So this is, I'm happy, Scott, that you have done this amazing work for so long, that now you're seeing the payoff of amazing employees like Nicholas in a career. I mean, goodness, your success story and trajectory is huge. And Nicholas, I can't wait to see in another 7 or 10 years where you continue to be at, because
I know, right? I know, right?
you might be on a taller high rise next time, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
So, yeah. Oh, there's so much sawdust in the air right now. So it's all sawdust, so much sawdust. For all of our fans who have stayed tuned in, thank you so much. This was a wonderful, powerful lunch. And I hope you share the story and then also get into the drywall business, because Hayden Jensen is amazing. And so again, if there are any questions or further information, always feel free to text Career Path to 31996. And then next week, we have a very, very special event. I'm going to be in person having lunch with my friends in Georgia, and we're going to have a real lunch, and I'm very, very excited. So yes. And Scott, anything else you'd like to wrap up for the lunch today?
No, I mean, seeing Nicholas in front of the Bank of America tower there. And just a quick funny story, just a quick small world story. I was reading in the Anning Johnson bio that they actually built One Atlantic Center, which is one of my favorite buildings on the Atlanta skyline. It's the old IBM tower. And I didn't realize Anning Johnson did all the drywall in One Atlantic Center. It's a 50-story building. It has a gold ornament on top, but it was actually the very first building that I worked in when I moved to Atlanta. It was One Atlantic Center. And so I didn't realize that Anning Johnson put up all the drywall in that 50-story tower, but it was just a small world story I wanted to share today. But that was back in 93 when I first moved to Atlanta. But gosh, Nicholas, I love you, man. It's so good to see you. And I'm so proud of you and all.
Thanks.
Look to see you really in person next week. Our new offices. You're going to be in the brand new headquarters here in Atlanta. So I can't wait to welcome you to Atlanta and have lunch with you in person.
Me either. Friends in real life. Maybe I'm going to sneak out those golf clubs next week, Nicholas. I'll let you know. All right, friends. Nicholas, thanks for taking time for lunch. Scott, thank you again. Also to other guests, Edwin and everyone else, have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Thanks, Bye. Bye, everyone.